Okay then, so, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, so, recently I started to get into the One Piece TCG, very cool card game, but, my favorite character, Robin, my beloved, has not gotten a leader yet, which is kind of funny, considering how, such popular characters as, like bloody Lucci has a leader, like, all sorts of random... Enel has a leader! Bloody Enel! Arlong has a leader, like, all these characters have cool-ass leaders. Anyway, so I'm just gonna be ranting about One Piece and such until her leader gets, like, leaked from Japan or, like, announced or whatever happens first for us to get confirmation that she's getting a leader. Which hopefully will be in Wings of the Captain. I mean, would it be the Three Brothers actually? Probably Three Brothers, because Wings of the Captain leaders have been leaked, or have been released in Japan. Anyway, I'm also just going to be playing 20 minutes till dawn while I talk, because my little ADHD goblin brain cannot focus on just one thing at a time. I'll play Spark. Yeah, let's go dual SMGs. Okay, so, yeah, I feel like, it's November 1st, as of me recording this. I'm Australian, and so I'm just gonna, even though I know I'm a little late, I'm gonna go for the thematic spooky season. Anyway, so today I'm gonna be talking about the meanings of, like One Piece characters and what the meaning is to their life. If I hear one person say 42, I am going to start killing, and not just these little spooky, Ridley guys. Yeah, so I guess we'll just go with them in order of them, like, being introduced, joining the Straw Hats, all that sort of goes. I'll go Paramage. So, yeah, best place to start, the captain, the boy, the probably Arrow Ace icon. Yes, the movie is Arrow Ace to me. Shut up. I'm not here for assistance. Oh god, I'm already taking money. Anyway, so the boy, Luffy, his, like, meaning in life is obviously pretty simple. He wants to be Pirate King. He wants to be the freest man alive. Which is really interesting, because that actually directly impacts, like, every other character in the series. Like, every character we meet has their own versions of Luffy's beliefs, if that makes sense. Or, not Luffy's beliefs, their own takes on freedom. And so, that's actually how, like, Luffy is such a talented leader, as is stated in Marineford. God, I need to stop taking damage. I'm not used to talking while playing, so this is... Oh god, oh my... How am I alive? Yeah, so Luffy is stated to be extremely charismatic because the boy, the man, the silly little dude, he... Wait, where did I get help? Oh, it must have been... He is, like, extremely charismatic because... No one saw that, okay? No one saw me die in the first minute 22. I'm gonna play this build again, because it's fun. Anyway, Jesus, we didn't even make it through Luffy and I already died. Anyway, Luffy's whole point, his whole meaning, the meaning of his life is to be free. And so that's reflected pretty well, like, right from the beginning of his life. Like, when we are first introduced to him, he doesn't listen to Shanks, he doesn't listen to, like, any of the red hair pirates who are all telling him, hey, Luffy, maybe wait till you're older, you shouldn't come with us. That's mainly Shanks, the red hair pirates not all that opposed. And anyway, Luffy has, like, multiple acts of rebellion against them, because he wants to be free, and being free means that stinky grown-ups do not tell you what to do. Sorry, I've been enjoying Persona 5 stuff again lately, so stinky grown-ups are on my mind a lot. Anyway, yeah, Luffy wants to be free, and so that sort of ties into his beliefs and every everything to do with his character and his relations to other characters. So yeah, I'll sort of, because Luffy's freedom being his meaning goes into bloody every other character in this series, I swear, I'm gonna sort of, well, I guess I've been on about it for like 3 minutes now, but I'm going to sort of come back to him for every character because I died again, let's go, because he's the main character, he influences them all, and also it sort of ties into the Straw Hats. My game is frozen. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I have an ancient computer. Anyway, yeah. So, next up is Zoro. I need to stop running into enemies. This is my ADHD not brain is not like this. Anyway, Zoro. So Zoro's meaning is, again, well, they're all sort of found in their characters' backstories, which I suppose makes sense because that's like the fundamental origin, starting point, etc. for One Piece characters, and them chasing their dreams, which is sort of the general meaning of all characters, like their meaning in life. Yeah. So Zoro's meaning is to sort of make good on his promise that he made to Quina when they were kids, and then Quina got 1v1 by the stairs and lost in a game of Fortnite or something. I don't know. I was trying to say something funny, but I couldn't think of anything. Anyway, yeah, so Zoro wants to become the strongest swordsman in the world. Pretty simple dream. And it sort of ties in very well to his character. YouTuber Melody has really, she's done like videos on every Straw Hat and their whole thing, which, yeah, sort of makes this very kind of pointless for me. Shut up. Anyway, yeah, Zoro wants to be the world's greatest swordsman, and so in order to do that, he needs to be strong, and so Zoro is constantly like training and trying. Oh my god, I am so bad at kiting. So yeah, he took Wado to Monty. Is that how you say it? That's how you say it, right? I know I'm Australian. Japanese is not my strong suit. Yeah, so he got Wado and Shimbunji from Queen's dad and went on to become the world's and is pretty firmly on the journey to becoming the world's greatest swordsman. Like, yeah, Kuma sent him to Mihawk. He got clapped by Mihawk when they first met at the Brazil. Like, that was not fair. That was brutal. That should not have been shown, you know, bloody children's anime about a goofy little rubber pirate and his goofy little friends. Yeah. And so Zoro's meaning is to become the greatest swordsman in the world. And Zoro is sort of, he's going very well at that, considering how he's pretty much, since making his vow after losing to Mihawk to never lose again, he's pretty much never lost. Like, you could argue that, well, I'd argue that at Sabaody, yes, he did technically lose, but that shouldn't be counted because the pacifistas, Kizaru, bloody ghosts, they're so fast. The pacifistas, Kizaru, I'm gonna change characters and guns while I keep talking. The pacifistas and Kizaru, like, they were so OP, like, literally no one there except for Rayleigh, you know, gal pal of the Pirate King. Historians will call them roommates, I swear. Yeah, bloody Rayleigh was the only one who actually, like, was able to do anything against Kizaru. And even then, that's because Rayleigh's, like, a badass. He's a funny little dude. And so, yeah, Zoro is, like, very firm about his strength. He's very firm about, like, his promise. He is going to make good on it. He will honor the loss of his childhood friend, who he kind of blames himself for the death, which, yeah, I know that isn't exactly shocking revelation by any means, considering the fact that he's been doing that for, like, the past, 20 actual years One Piece is older than me, fun fact. Anyway, yeah, then I suppose we'll move on. Because Zoro, again, is very simple. But yeah, or actually I'll tie back to Luffy as well. Because Luffy ties into Zoro, because Zoro he's very heavy on his pride as of starting the series, like, and just sort of in general, he's heavy on his pride, which I suppose his village being primarily like people who came from Wano, which is those people are proud. Like you'll see Odin and how that man trusted Orochi, and like, yeah, you'll if you're Soul Wano, you know how proud people from Wano are. Anyway, yeah. Zoro, obviously, in like hindsight, that has definitely tied into his character development, is his sense of honor, his Bushido code, which I don't know if that's actually what it is in One Piece, or if I'm even being right. Again, I am Australian, I have not done research, I just sort of decided to make this video on a whim. Yeah, Zoro has his pride, and so Luffy essentially tells him at the start of the series, like episode 2 maybe? I don't know, I didn't watch that, like I read the manga. But yeah, like pretty much immediately Luffy tells Zoro, hey, you don't have to always stick to your moral code. You can be free. You can like enjoy your life a bit. You can like you're not gonna achieve your dream by just following by following this code permanently. And yeah, Zoro is like, yes, he's got like pride, yes, he's got his honor, but like he is above all else very much so like the level-headed one of the early Straw Hats. Or correction, he's goofy as hell. It's One Piece, everyone's goofy. But he is level-headed in comparison to like a lot of the early Straw Hats, which are namely like or just in comparison to most of the Straw Hats, now that I think about it. Sorry, I'm having a flashback to this one comic I saw on Tumblr, yes, I'm a Tumblr user, of the Straw Hats trying to get the insulation and Chopper, and Luffy's already eating the insulation. Anyway, yes, so Zoro is very much so like, he is, as TV Sky put it, very cool content creator, he is like a traditional anime, like shonen protagonist. Like he is Ichigo basically put into the Looney Tunes. Like he's Ichigo in Tom and Jerry. Like he's not at all meant to be in this world, in this story, half the time it seems. And so yeah, that sort of is Zoro's meaning, is to be strong. His point, like his whole story arc is basically like his relation to his strength and his his ever-changing understanding of his own strength. Like up until Mihawk, we've pretty much like seen Zoro just be like, oh yeah, like I'm sort of the badass, like no one can defeat me, like I'm the pirate hunter. Like yeah, we have Yosaku and Johnny, and like yeah, we see him basically, he's always like clapping the right hand man of whatever arc's big bad. Like yeah, Zoro takes on Kaku, who is the only member of CP9 other than I think Lucci to properly like reappear in the story in Egghead. Yeah, he takes on King, obviously, who is like, I'd argue he's a bit more like important to Kaido than Queen. I just don't like Queen though. Yeah, he takes on like everyone because, well, he is one of the wings of the Pirate King. Anyway, yeah. I don't remember where I was going with this. Anyway, let's move on to Nami. Nami's meaning on life is berries, and now on to Usopp. No, I'm joking, of course. I'll start playing the game again. So, yeah, so Nami's whole purpose is that essentially, it starts off as like Nami is a very like Nami doesn't really fit in with a lot of like the Straw Hat, like with the early Straw Hats, at like pretty much at all, considering how like Luffy and Usopp are like very goofy little dudes. Zoro also fairly goofy, but like Zoro is all stoic and manly and cool. But Nami is like, they all have their dreams, and Nami, when we first meet her, is meant to be like she's meant to be like sort of the reason of the group, like the logical one, which she is pretty much always for the Straw Hats. Like, she's usually the serious one. But anyway, Nami as a whole, like, she is the very much so, like, at first we just sort of see that Nami is like a bit of a sussy barker. She's basically just using the Straw Hats to further her own game, further her own goals. Like, she almost, I'm pretty sure she almost kills Yosaku and Johnny early on, like right between Barate and Arlong, like right at the start of the Arlong Park arc. Saga's a, well, like the overall things, I think. So like, yeah, late Eastwood, she just like basically almost murders Yosaku and Johnny, which kind of mean, but fair. I don't know, I just found them kind of annoying, but yeah, I don't know. That's just me. Yeah, Nami, and so like, then we see Arlong, like, well, we see Luffy completely wreck Arlong, like, one of the greatest fight scenes in, like, all of anime, I'd argue, is Luffy versus Arlong. Like, that, yeah, like, I remember hearing a lot of people say, and I told a lot of my friends who are interested in One Piece, like, oh yeah, watch the live action, because, well, it takes you up to Arlong Park, which is, that's sort of like, when you're recommending someone anime or manga, that is the point where, like, everything, that's like the drop of the song, if that makes any sense. Like, that's where everything sort of comes together. And anyway, yeah, Arlong Park is like the drop, and so, yeah, that is also sort of where we see Nami sort of, that is like the turning point for her character, because Nami goes from being like, oh yeah, greedy lady who hates pirates, like, she goes from being the mean witch of the group to being like, oh, she's still like mean, but it's justified. Like, this, like, baby girl has, oh damn it, I didn't mean to die there. Baby girl has trauma, and it's like, damn, Nami, what happened? And we see her, and it is like, Arlong Park is genuinely a heartbreaking arc, and so Nami's meaning sort of goes from, she goes from being like very self-centered to almost kind of altruistic, if that makes sense. Like, she goes from being, oh yeah, I'm going to like rob and steal and be a greedy little bastard because I want to being, I am going to like, I don't ever want anyone to have to suffer the way I did at the hands of Arlong, which sort of ties into like, yeah, I'm like, she is, which is why she cares so strongly for the Straw Hats, because they freed her, and that's why, like, yeah, with all the, like, with the Shandians on Skypiea, with pretty much every character we see Nami interact with, like, she is genuinely super caring, like for example, on Punk Hazard, with the kids who are, like, being experimented on by Caesar Clown, my favorite sneak little man, I love him. Yeah, we, like, Nami is fully, I am going to, like, I'll do everything for these kids. And also, that line about the she, Nami is so sapphic. She is so queer-coded, I will not hear otherwise. Yeah, and then onto Usopp. Usopp's really, I really like Usopp as a character, but also, like, he weirdly, I don't think he actually makes my top 3 Straw Hats, despite the fact that I feel like Usopp is actually probably one of my favorite characters, but he's simultaneously not my favorite Straw Hat. Because, like, when we're introduced to Usopp, he is, for lack of a better term, he is, like, the soggy cat. Like, he is pathetic. And so, his goal is essentially to become Great Warrior of the Seas. Like, deliver and, like, so that he can come back and tell Kaya all of these amazing stories about, like, his adventures. And so yeah, the prophet God Usopp, sort of, he is, like, he's a hard carry for them. Like, he's the unspoken hard carry of the Straw Hats. Like, he gets told to do something, he does it. He started a cult accidentally. Like, Usopp is amazing. Sorry, I don't mean to just start ranting about Usopp. Anyway, yeah, he is, like, he's very much so, like, when we're first introduced to him, he's, like, just sort of pathetic. He's, like, we see him and his name is actually a fun little bit of lore. I remember from reading an SBS, I think it was, that Usopp's name is Uso, which is the Japanese word for to lie, and then Aesop, or Aesop, as in, like, Aesop's Fables or Aesop's Fables. Like, all those classic children's stories, like The Boy Who Cried Wolf is one of the most iconic ones, which corresponds very closely to Usopp. And anyway, yeah, Usopp is, like, he is meant to be the liar, and it all comes together when Kuro, like, basically almost 1v1s the Straw Hats, and then never gets ripped. Like, literally nothing happens with Kuro after, which kind of sucks, because Kuro, like, is, yeah, aside from that one cover art, I think we got a few months, like a month or two back, Kuro is never appeared again. And Django, like, bloody Django, got a whole ass cover story, and Kuro got nothing. Anyway, yeah. And then I feel like Usopp's character arc is sort of, like, as he goes on these adventures and progresses with the Straw Hats, like, for example, Alum Park, he begins, like, he doesn't really do much in the Brasier. Let's be honest, he like, the Brasier is mainly there for Sanji to, like, show, like, it's mainly there to establish, like, oh yeah, here is Mihawk for Zoro, here is, like, Pearl for Sanji to beat up, here is Don Krieg to be, like, the most forgettable bloody antagonist in existence, and then there's just Usopp, he's just there. Anyway, then we, like, hit Arlong Park, he manages to, using his own specific set of skills, take out a fishman, which, like, as of this point in the story, like, the fishmen are, like, they're insanely strong. Like, we've seen how much, like, yes, Arlong is racist as hell, and, like, his crew are all, like, trained combatants, but, like, it's made abundantly clear just, like, how much stronger a fishman is in comparison to a human. And Usopp, being a human with a slingshot, that is it, is, like, absurd. It's absurd seeing Usopp, this scrawny-ass kid with a slingshot, like, fully manage to beat a fishman. Even if it's, I'm not going to take that, I'm sorry. Even if it's, like, even if it is using underhanded tactics, but that's Usopp. And then, like, I'd say through that, until Water 7, we don't get a ton of, like, Usopp growing as a character, or, like, finding the meaning of his existence. Sorry, this is, like, just sort of going to talking about character arcs as opposed to meanings, but yeah, that's right, it all sort of ties together. And yeah, Usopp, his meaning throughout, like, his meaning sort of evolves in Water 7, because he isn't so much, like, he isn't. Let's see. Because Water 7 is where we see Usopp actually, like, this is the first, like, proper internal conflict between the Straw Hats since probably Arlong Park. Like, and even then, Arlong Park is more so like, we're going to save you now. Don't bother trying to stop us. Less, like, actual, oh yeah, we're going to kick Usopp out of the crew until he can come to his senses. And it's weirdly, like, it's a humbling of Usopp, if that makes any sense. Like, he doesn't, like, obviously he's still, like, he's still a liar, he's still a bit of a pain, he's like, he's still fundamentally at the core Usopp, but he's growing, like, he is sort of, like, Water 7 is, and his lobby, I guess, like, the whole Water 7 saga is a better way to put it. Like, that is sort of Usopp's turning point, where, like, then we get into sort of the time skip, and Usopp goes from, like, Usopp, like, that man got the biggest blow up going from, like, scrawny nerd to chubby to, oh wait, I forgot the boss deal double damage on this, like, on this darkness, to actual, like, Giga Chad. And then, after Usopp is Sanji. Sanji's meaning hot babes. No, I'm joking. But yeah, I'd say Usopp's meaning best. Sorry, I think recording is screwing with my computer a little. Anyway, Sanji's meaning sort of. Oh, sorry, I still haven't done it. Usopp's overall one. I'm sorry, my boy. Usopp's overall meaning, to put it simply, is that he is going from being like a pathetic liar to, I suppose his meaning, like the meaning of his story is Usopp going from being just a normal bloke, like a average, everyday person who is a bit of a rat bag, if we're being honest at the start. Like, he's going from being a rat bag to, you know, an actual, like, character who, he's going from being, like, this kid who dreams and tells stories about his dreams to living those dreams. And so, which I feel like Usopp sort of ties in perfectly to the overarching themes of One Piece. Yeah. And then on to Sanji. Sanji's very annoying because, like, I could talk so much about Sanji, but I think I'm already at like 20-ish minutes of just rambling. Yeah, maybe I'll cut this in so that I don't have to think of anything tomorrow, and so that this doesn't turn into like a 3-hour-long video essay of incoherent rambling for most of it. Yeah, Sanji's meaning is, he is sort of locked up in his own head when we first meet him. Like, his meaning is sort of him becoming free of his own internalized stuff. Like, he goes from this kid who, he sort of has no self-worth. He's a lady. Like, he pretty much just hits on girls, yells at Zeph, doesn't really do much else. And then, as we see Sanji's story go on, like, as he goes throughout the Baratier, throughout, especially Whole Cake Island, Sanji becomes, like, he overcomes his own anxieties around his self-worth, because, like, he goes from being sort of, I don't know how to put this, like, pathetic? Like, not the same, like, Usopp, like, soggy, wet cat pathetic. Actually, no, Sanji's more like wet cat pathetic, and Usopp's more like just pathetic. Like, Usopp's like drowning rat pathetic. Sanji is wet cat. If that makes any sense outside of my head. I'm sorry, I used Tumblr way too much. Yeah, so Sanji goes from being like, he goes from being broken, is a better way to put it. Like, this broken man who, like, he is sort of content to just work at Baratie as opposed to try and find the All Blue. And then along came Luffy, and then along came Zeus, and Luffy was like, bro, you fight good, you cook good, you have a dream, join my crewmate. And Sanji is like, hell no, because up until this point, as I was saying, Sanji has been internalizing his own self-worth. Like, he's just some kid. Like, thanks to Judge, he, as we find out, like, a whole ass, like, 15 years later, like, 15 years after the start of One Piece, I think. Maybe closer to 20, actually, jeez. But yeah, a long time after he's first introduced, we find out about his second backstory with Germ 66 and his actual blood family. And it's kind of crazy, because we see where a lot of Sanji's self-worth that is there in bloody... It's there in the Baratie of all places. And so we see Sanji's self-worth, like, fully showing. And it's kind of crazy because Sanji, like, he doesn't think he... Like, if anyone would find the All Blue, it wouldn't just be some, like, random failure of a kid from the North Blue who is now, like, bloody doing bugger all for some random kitchen in East Blue. Like, he's in East Blue of all places, like, the place that produced 2 of the 11 supernovas. Like, come on. Well, yeah, it's 11 supernovas, 12 for the West Generation, right? I can't remember. I just sort of put them hand in hand. Anyway, yeah, he's like... Yeah, he doesn't... Oh, I'm dead again. I might just switch my build. But yeah, he's like... Oh yeah, I'm... If anyone would find All Blue, it wouldn't be some random kid. It wouldn't be this pathetic failure. Like, all of what Judge has told him is so clear to him at this point. Like, or it's so heavily internalized. Because he has no self-worth. And then, like, yeah, it's pretty evident throughout the whole story that yeah, he doesn't really see himself as worth much. Like, he's always willing to self-sacrifice. Like, there is the absurd, despite the fact that, like, he is, well, yeah, monster trio for a reason after all. Like, you'll saw that man on the bloody Water 7 train arc. Like, he basically soloed that. Yeah, he soloed the train basically. And yet, like, he still, like, he's willing to sacrifice himself for Zoro on Thriller Bark. Like, he's willing to basically... He wants to die. He wants to, like, give himself up. Because he believes that all of the other Straw Hats in their dreams are worth more than him. And Sanji is wrong. He may not be my favorite character. He's my favorite live-action Straw Hat. But, like, he may not be my favorite character. Like, my favorite Straw Hat in the manga. But he is, like, after all, he is very much so just a kid who got broken as a child because of the toxic relationship with his family, who ruined his self-worth, and then, yeah, after the Baratie, like, with, you know, with Phoenix, not Phoenix, why am I, sorry, I'm thinking about one of my friends, yeah, but with Sanji, like, he becomes very much so a person who learns to love himself a bit more. Like, he isn't just, oh yeah, haha, I'm gonna do the funny simping. He's like, yeah, I am a person who deserves to be loved and valued as much as any other of the Straw Hats, which is something that I feel like is what makes him so likable to a lot of fans. Is that the whole meaning of Sanji's story is that he is learning about his own worth, his own, like, how he can be happy and valued despite the fact that he may not be able to see it himself, which is something that, like, I know that I certainly relate to that a lot. I feel like a lot of people definitely relate to that sort of aspect of Sanji as a whole. Plus, like, well, yeah, obviously with Germa, like, unhealthy family versus found family, it's all very cool. Plus, like, yeah, he meets Luffy, who sort of, and that's a big part of Luffy across all of the East Blue Straw Hats especially, is, well, just across all of the Straw Hats really, Luffy is, well, he is the warrior of liberation, he is the sun god Nika, he is, like, he is the freest man, or, like, he is the man who is freeing all of these people, he is making it so that their lives can be what they've always wanted, even if they themselves are not quite capable of seeing that. Like, he makes it so that Usopp's stories are true, so that, like, one day Usopp will return as one of, like, will return to Sierra Village, not Shellstown, I almost said Shellstown, as this great warrior of the sea with many stories that are actually true. Like, he won't need to scream that the pirates are coming because he wants to see his dad, which I relate, man. No, I'm joking. I have mummy issues, not daddy issues. And yeah, like Usopp, Nami is very much so, like, Arlong is basically just holding her hostage because, you know, he wants a map of the world. And Nami is able to give him that. Yeah, Sanji is being, like, he is stuck by his, well, I guess they're all sort of held captive by different things. Usopp by, I guess, by the fact that, like, he's sort of a coward for, well, because he hasn't had, like, the inciting incident in this story yet. He is not, like, ready to actually become a great warrior of the sea until he meets Luffy, until they face down with Kuro and Django and Yanban brothers. Ugh, the live action did them so much better, oh my god. Yeah, he isn't ready to become a great warrior of the sea. Like, Zoro isn't ready to escape his past. Sanji isn't ready to get out of his head. Nami isn't ready to escape Arlong's abuse and actual, like, plans of just basically just murdering her, continuing to use her as just a cartographer who will never actually get what is promised her. Yeah. And so yeah, that's sort of like the story of Luffy. So, like, the meaning of Luffy's story is that he is, well, I guess we can circle back to it now because, like, I'm about ready to stop recording after this run, so I'll just sort of talk about Luffy until I die, or I win. That's very unlikely though. I don't want to go for another 15 minutes, but also I really want to be done with Darkness 7. Please, this Darkness is so annoying, I don't know why, it's just a pain. Anyway, yeah, Luffy, he is, the whole point of him as a character is that, well, like, especially now that he's got Gear 5 and we've got, like, all of the revelations about his mythical zone and everything, is that, like, Luffy is the sun god Nika. He is, like, he is this great liberator. Like, this man who is sort of here to... Sorry, I'm trying to, like, focus on fighting a boss while also talking about Luffy. He is there to essentially just become... He is there not just as the man who is going to become the freest man alive. He is not there as the man who is just going to become the Pirate King. Because I feel like this is something that also, a part of Shanks' crew, actually, that ties in really well to Luffy, is how, like, Shanks' crew, when we see, like, all of the big Yonko bounties revealed and everything, it's stated that Shanks' crew is basically like they have no low value members. Like Shanks' crew are they're really bloody strong. They like each individual member is stated to have a high bounty and all that, which I feel like that is pretty accurate because like, well, yeah, and that sort of goes into Luffy as well because Luffy wants to like he isn't like he could have had the Grand Fleet like right up, like he could have been like, oh yeah, I'm going to have this massive fleet of people who like love me. I'm going to use them to like, you know, I'm going to call them for help for the raid on Onigashima. I'm going to like do all of these, like I'm going to have them come with me and fight all of the Yonko. Like I'm going to have them come with me to find the wonders. No, Luffy doesn't want that. Luffy wants to use, like, to Luffy the Grand Fleet are they're just his friends basically, like, they're all people that he has helped become free, like, Hajrodan, I don't know how to say his name, I always say Heruden, which I know is probably wrong, but, it's just sort of, I don't know, that's just sort of how I feel like it should be pronounced, but I'm not good at pronouncing things. I'm Australian. I don't pronounce half the letters I say. Actually, I'd also be if I was French. Anyway, yeah, Luffy, he has this really tight core group, like Shanks. Like, anytime we see Shanks on screen, or like, we see the red hair pirates on screen, I should say. Like, it's almost, like, we almost always have Ben Beckman there, Lucky Root is there, Yasop is there, like, all of the sort of named members that we saw, like, we've known about since, like, Chapter 1, since these guys were first introduced. Yeah, all of these guys are really, like, Shanks' crew has a really strong core. I believe that was a Jaegerist's video, which was going over, like, the strengths of each shipwreck crew, and Shanks was his core crew, which, yeah. And, like, yeah, that's sort of his core crew as well. He just has these really tight people that he cares about, because One Piece is about found family, it's about Luffy, oh fuck, I'm dead. It's about Luffy helping them all become free, and I'm going to stop recording now because this has been going on for like forever. Yeah, I will probably see you all tomorrow unless my ADHD goblin brain just decides no. Goodbye, random people of the internet.